Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with another vid. And obviously you know what this is about since you clicked on it and read the title. Obviously, in this one I am going to be talking about the Samsung GXTV, which was a TV that was released in the late 90s that was a TV for gamers. I won't get into all the features of the TV and all of that, but I'm going to start off by saying I'm a little bit surprised. I've never seen a bigger YouTuber ever do a video on this. I'm really shocked LGR's never done one on this or any of the big retro gaming channels. I did a search on YouTube before I did this video, and there's just not much on this out there. I mean, yeah, there are a few videos here and there, but not much that's in depth or showing off tons of stuff that this TV can do. So I figured I'd try to make a pretty comprehensive video on this thing. So anyway, obviously what we're looking at here is the front of the TV with, you know, you're like, why does it look like that? Well, why does it look like that indeed? What could that be? Just big plastic box says GX on it, right? Well, we're about to see the magic of this TV. Boom. We got some lovely speakers right there, right? And we got a 13-inch 4x3 CRT oh my god, 4x3 CRT television behind the speakers. Of course, the array of buttons and a headphone jack. And that's pretty much it. Now, there is one thing on the front of this that sets it apart even more than the speakers themselves. And I'll lift the camera up just slightly so you guys can see this. Whoa. That there in the back, they called that the subwoofer. And this TV does put out a fair amount of bass for television, as we will get to when we're demoing the sound and all that. I'd say the sound quality is roughly that of a decent boombox. It's certainly not hi-fi or anything, but there you go. And of course, that's what the TV just looks like with the speakers open. And then of course, when you're done using the TV, if you want to, you can just very easily close these right back. You got rubber pieces on the speakers to make sure you don't slide and scrape. I'm going to turn the TV around, and yeah, we have some stuff plugged in, but that's because I'm going to be showing off some features of this TV real quick before we get into the extreme meat of this. But I'll zoom in a bit so you can see the details here. According to the sticker, this was manufactured in January of '98, so obviously we're going back in time quite a bit here. And basically on the back here, what we have are two AV inputs. One of them is occupied right now because we're going to be demoing. And then I have some cords in the one, here let me pop these out so you can actually see what it's labeled there. Zoom in a bit more. That one is labeled monitor out, because this TV does a really cool magic trick that I'm going to be showing you guys here in a few minutes. And I'll save this. You can probably guess what that is, but we'll get there. And then of course you have, oops, bumping into that. You have a regular coax input for TV or cable. And then beneath that you got game channel 3 and 4. And that's for the TV's GX mode or game mode, which I'm personally not a huge fan of. I prefer to use custom settings on it, but we'll be getting into all that a little later in the video. So that's pretty much the TV. Physical appearance, inputs, outputs, all that stuff. So, without further ado, let's power the TV on. And we will start up a SNES game here. And you're probably wondering why there's no sound. We'll get to that in a moment here. But now we're hearing sound, but it's not coming from the TV. Oh, where could it be coming from? It's got to be coming from somewhere. And that is the magic trick that I wanted to show you guys. The monitor out basically lets you output an identical picture to another television. So in theory, you could link, if you really wanted to for some reason, if you wanted to link several of these together, daisy chain them, you could. I don't know what the picture would look like on, like, you know, like the fourth or fifth one of these. Since I only have one, I can't say. But let's go ahead and try to get these TVs as close together as I can for you, so you can really see how these pictures look. That TV there is actually my daughter's television. And it's actually, coincidentally, the very first high-def TV I ever bought in my entire life. I bought that back, I think, in like 2007 or so. It's a cheap 22-inch Element TV, which was a Circuit City House brand, which shows you just how old it is. And the sound you're hearing is obviously playing from the high-def television. So I'll go ahead and just turn up the sound a little bit on the GXTV. As you can see, it's way better. Not surprising, considering the speakers in that are pretty much crap quality. So basically what we're going to do here is we're going to just do a little bit of gameplay and all that, so we can really kind of see, compare and contrast the gameplay on these two televisions here. And come on. One thing I noticed right off the bat is, since this is a 16:9 television, you actually can see a bit more of the picture. You see at the bottom there the level indicators for, I guess, the Super Combo Energy or something. You can see the entire lettering. It says level 0 on both sides, whereas if you look at the GXTV, zoom in a bit more, the edge of the 0 is cut off. So basically, a bit of the picture is chopped off on each side on the 4:3 television. Now, it's not really bad or anything, but it's a little bit, and I think that's because the corners on the GXTV are significantly more rounded than even most CRT televisions. It's really, for lack of a better term, kind of really old school. Because by the time the SNES was common, televisions typically didn't have edges that were quite so rounded. So yeah, you would definitely see more of the picture. As far as which one do I think looks better, I'm definitely going to go with the CRT on this one. The GXTV, you know, the color representation is much better on it. The colors on the high-def TV in comparison look washed out. The image is much sharper on the CRT television. That's not surprising, because composite on an HD TV is not exactly a high-quality image source. I'm going to go ahead and the animation, by the way, is the same. You don't miss any frames on the high-def TV, because I played this game for a little bit before recording this, and there's no dropped frames or anything, near as I could tell, excuse me, on the high-def TV, so, which is a good thing, you know. So if you really want to hook an SNES up to a high-def TV that has composite input, that is an option for you, but you probably will get a better experience on a CRT. So, just something to keep in mind. And in a moment, I'm going to go, once I get into the next match, I'm going to pause, and then we're going to get some more fine detail on the picture here. So just bear with me while we kind of go through the thing.
One, fight!
Okay, so we'll zoom in here on the details of the screen, and obviously we get an idea of what the color representation looks like and all that, and it's really good on the Samsung TV, not surprising. And then we go over here, the details in comparison are more washed out, as well as the color being more washed out. So definitely a less than optimal experience, but I think it's a really cool thing that the GXTV can output to another television. In fact, I don't know if there are any TVs on the market nowadays that can do that, and there's probably been very few TVs ever that can do that. I know that is an extremely rare thing in televisions. You know, I know that in the modern age you can maybe daisy chain some monitors, but that's even fairly rare. So this kind of stuff is definitely not something you see every day. So it's actually really cool to see something like that. You know, it'd be a great way just to, I don't know, just for pure shits and giggles. This is a lot of fun. So anyway, what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to pause, and we're going to get into the real meat of this, which actually subsequently was filmed before this part was, because I just, as I was going along and discovered some things, I thought, you know what, I really should reshoot the intro, and I really wanted to show off this quote-unquote magic trick before I got into everything else. So I'm going to dive in head first onto all of the uses for this television, and we'll talk, and I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, guys, I have a whole bunch of stuff hooked up to this television now, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into the demo. And first thing we're going to start off with is just simply some broadcast content, because I got a lovely ATSC converter box TV tuner hooked up to this. So let's go ahead and watch some local lovely Cincinnati broadcasts. Let's go ahead and power the TV on.
Okay, take that down. Let's not see that anymore. Steve and Ellen return after the Olympics on WLWT.
If you
okay, what we're viewing right now,
you could overdose.
On the screen, basically, this is through the standard antenna input. This is over RF, not AV. And I don't know how clear this is coming across in the video. I'm going to go ahead and move the camera a bit closer into the television itself. That way maybe you can see the finer points on the picture here. Yeah, that's pretty good. So you can see artifacts a fair amount through the RF. You know, in the just kind of on the screen, some quote fuzz, as it were, from the RF, and it's pretty obvious. Now let's go ahead and switch to the AV input. It's going to be a lot cleaner. Plus,
and Xavier has another tough road test coming up tomorrow. The Musketeers coming off two close calls. The overtime win against Georgetown at home, then the overtime win at Butler Tuesday night.
Don't know how that
and tomorrow
happened.
Brings another tough test, another road game. It's at Creighton.
As you can see, the picture is much cleaner, a lot less fuzz. The audio, obviously,
that's the beauty of Big East. Every game's a tough.
The audio gets a lot louder because this is a true stereo. It's not mono. It's a true stereo output through the RCA jacks into the back of the television. So the audio is a lot better, as well as a pretty significant bump in the video quality.
Meanwhile,
I'm actually really impressed
some gurus say
with the picture quality you can get on this television watching a broadcast. Obviously, it's been... I probably have not watched any sort of television broadcast on this TV since maybe the year... 1998 or 2000 probably would have been the last time I watched any sort of television broadcast on this TV, at least for, you know, any length of time. So it's definitely been quite a while since I did, and like I said, I'm really impressed with how good this looks. Really impressive. I mean, CRTs, despite their obsolescence, they are capable of some really great image quality. I mean, I always remember, you know, growing up, I remember the first time I saw a DVD was on a television like this. So, you know, being super impressed with it. And yeah, we are going to be viewing a little bit of a DVD. But as you can see, huge difference. I'll just show you one more time. We're starting off, we'll go back to the antenna there. We can see a little bit of fuzz and noise in the picture. Again, I don't know how well this is coming across on camera. Switch over to the AV input. And it significantly cleans up the picture. Really impressed. So not gonna lie, guys, this is a little bit funny watching a widescreen title on a 13-inch 4x3 CRT. So here we go. We'll watch a tiny bit of Minority Report here, just so you guys can get a good idea of how it looks here.
It's no longer there. Time frame?
13 minutes.
Hey, Chief. Investigator from the feds here. Yeah, I don't need some twink from the Fed poking around right now.
Just a little bit for you guys.
Check in with the papers they had it forwarded, see if the neighbors knew where they went. Check all
you know, the picture looks pretty good.
Fletch, just get him some coffee. Tell him some stories how I save your ass every day and you can't live without me.
Skip ahead, see if we can get to an action sequence here.
Imagine a world without murder.
Anyway.
The gentleman of justice wants to take all this away from us. You understand?
As you can see, we have really good color on this, really deep blacks, etc., etc. In fact, that's one advantage of CRTs over newer display technology, is you get much better blacks, black reproduction on them.
Yes, sir. I'm Gideon. Your chief editor.
There you go. That's pretty much what we're looking at. Now, granted, this isn't as good as something. It's not. It doesn't look as good as, like, say, of course, a Blu-ray 4K on a 4K television. Of course not. It's ridiculous. But it's still, you know, pretty good for what it is. So anyway, what I'm going to do right now, guys, obviously I'm going to pause again. I'm going to put in an actual game for the PS2, and we're going to get a look at that. So see you guys in just a second. Alright guys, here we are with the PS2 gameplay. We have the first God of War title, the beginning of the game. I'm going to go ahead and just play just for a little bit, and I'm going to show you the vaunted GX mode, which is the special game mode for audio and video, and I'll see what you guys think of that. So let's go ahead. I want this to be super loud, and this will get loud. Just a little bit better for you guys. Real up close and personal line, right? There you go. Sorry guys, having a bit too much fun just playing this. mode, and all that really does, it changes the video and audio, and I actually don't like this that much. It makes the screen darker. I can do all that through manual adjustments if I really want. I'll show you during actual gameplay here. Truthfully, I don't care for that very much, but this gives you an idea of what it's like to, play one of my most modern retro consoles that I have. But alright guys, I went ahead and hooked up my Super Nintendo to this television, and the game I thought I would show off is Street Fighter II Turbo, as I think it's a good one to compare real gameplay with emulated gameplay, and we'll be getting into the emulated gameplay here in a moment, just to show you basically how you think it looks different. So we're starting off obviously with the the main thrust of the video here, the GXTV, and we of course are starting on the antenna input. This is the simple RF input, not the AV. So let's go ahead and we'll get a little bit of gameplay going here. And as you can see, there is some noise in the image, for lack of a better term. You'll really see it when the screen goes black there in a second.
Brazil! Round one, fight!
I'm not playing particularly well because I'm just trying to pay attention to how the picture looks. But if you zoom in, you can definitely see some noise in the image and all that. And if we switch over to the switch to the AV input, obviously you can tell the image becomes sharper, more clear. And the audio gets a pretty significant increase as well, because you go from mono to true stereo audio, because it's got, left and right channel, which is definitely an increase. So clearly going with AV over the RF input is great. So big improvement. There you go. That's, quote, some real deal hardware over there. So let's go ahead and compare that to a Raspberry Pi hooked up via HDMI to a modern television. It's a 720p set, but it's obviously a lot more modern than what we were working with here. And obviously it's a completely different type of look. You can very much see the pixels that make up the all of the elements on the screen. It's pretty obvious. Gameplay feels pretty similar. But of course, there's a difference. I don't have an actual SNES pad that I'm using. Of course, I could hook up one via USB if I really wanted to, so the feel is a little bit different, but it still plays obviously pretty similarly. The image is obviously a lot different. As far as which one you prefer, that's going to be largely down to personal preference, I think. But I don't know. Let me pause this thing real. Oh, I'm doing a save. No. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I wasn't hitting the pause button in the emulator. So this is pretty much the type of image you get with emulation. It's really clean, and it looks great. But let's zoom in here, right? You can really see the pixels that make up Guile, right? Very easily, okay? Now, by the same token, let's go ahead and look at the characters on this screen and zoom in. And because you got to keep in mind, when these games were developed, this is pretty much the only type of television that existed. Obviously, we didn't have high-def TVs back in the 1990s. Yeah, you can see the pixels, but it's a lot less than in the other game. Way less. The characters look a lot more natural on the screen, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff, in my opinion. I think for these older type of, at least from the 16 to really 32-bit era, I think CRTs suit the gameplay a bit better. Not to say that the emulator's bad. It's not. It looks fantastic and it looks great on the television. But I think I just think it's a bit better. Yeah, of course it's smaller, but whatever. And right now I'm about to show you guys something that you certainly cannot do with any modern television whatsoever. This will only work on CRTs. And that, of course, are light gun games. We're going to do just a tiny bit of Lethal Enforcers just for fun. See how well we do here. Let's just go ahead and plug the light gun into the SNES. There we go. I gotta try to do this in between the... Wow.
Player one.
I remember when this game came out, I was so blown away by it. I thought this was absolutely amazing. Normally I'm a little bit further back from the TV for this, but in the interest of this video. Anybody else remember playing this game? I always wanted to shoot the glass by the civilians.
Don't shoot!
If you shoot them, you lose health. No! Good stuff, right? Good times. Basically, the game just kind of goes on and on like this. There sure are a lot of bank robbers, aren't there?
No!
And I love the way they pop up and say, no! Alright, that's enough of that. But you guys get the idea. And the reason this won't work on a modern television is because of the way light gun games are designed. There's a flash across the CRT that basically aligns with the light gun somehow to detect a hit or not. And that's how it works. And it just does not work with modern televisions whatsoever. So what are my final thoughts on this TV? It's a great piece of... I guess I'll just let it play. It's a great piece of gaming history to have around. But at the prices that this thing is going for on eBay, I think it's going for between $150 to $200 for a unit that's in this condition. I personally would not pay that much money to have one. If you need a CRT television to play retro games on, I would definitely recommend trying to get, for one, a larger screen. I do like this 13-inch screen. It is fun, but honestly, you can get a lot bigger screen for a lot less money than $150. So that would be the route I would go. And like I said, this is just an interesting curiosity to have around. I don't plan on selling it because I do like it. At least for the time being, you never know. I guess if all my cartridge systems break down, yeah, I guess I'd probably get rid of it at that point. But until then, I plan on hanging on to this because it's just a really neat piece of history to have around. It's a lot of fun. Sound quality on it is pretty decent. I'd say it's as good as like a somewhat decent boombox. That's pretty much it. This was my look at the Samsung GXTV. I hope I demonstrated enough on it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, if you like this, thumbs up. If you hate me, thumbs down. Share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.